Welcome back to Minus 16, the podcast. Well, first of all, I'm going to just surrender now. The audio listeners, I am waving the white handkerchief of shame. Welcome back to Minus 16, the podcast where we talk about tech and things that glow or not, and also, of course, the business of YouTube. So, Daniel is feeling healthy, sparky, he's spicy, and he's ready to go.
I am warmed up at limber. I have had a whole week of this to prepare.
I know, I've got a feeling you may have been burying videos against one another week. I put something in it, so this is why I need to buy something.
Yeah, it feels like we've been doing the same for 4 or 5 years, so I'm kind of,
well, it was almost
hardened by now.
Do you know, I almost set a calendar date for your one, Alex. Save your money, don't buy.
Don't waste your money.
It took off, didn't it? Immediately, just flew.
Exactly the same as every year. It does the same thing.
That's what we need, a good banker like that. So, chaps, before we get going, everyone well? Everyone good? Everyone healthy?
Yeah, mostly.
I won't go that far, no.
This is the first year I've genuinely felt the pressure of what's been going on with kind of the volume of what's happening.
Tech-timber is truly here, isn't it?
I was just saying to Daniel before you joined us, I've done 4 shorts, 3 long form, and I'm probably doing another long form later on today, and the voice begins to go. And we'll talk about this more in the back half of it, shall we? But it's fun, but it brings its certain kind of pressures.
But let's talk about why we are feeling this way.
Let's talk about it, shall we? What happened Monday?
Nothing really.
Exactly what happened Monday. Okay, so I do know that I'm going to be the kind of lone outrider here to some degree. Look, right from the get-go, I'm not going to sit here and defend it. It was a fairly dull event. There's no denying it. I mean, I tried to sort of think what we got, and the bit where they brought Craig on, for instance, and just it was a cut and paste from WWDC. I don't know why they did that. We didn't need to know about it. We haven't got Apple Intelligence yet. It's not coming. Well, we're getting an 18.1 update in October, but I think most of the goodies are coming in 0.2 in December. And the rest of it, probably not until iPhone 17. So,
Yeah, I thought that bill was actually quite funny that not many people picked up on it. And if you looked into the facts, it's not a real walled garden, but they put him in if you don't know San Francisco, and if you don't know that location, it's, I read it as, we talk about Apple Intelligence as yet another hook into the Apple ecosystem. And I don't think they thought this through, but they put the main guy in a walled garden. Like,
I hadn't thought of that. I had not thought of that. I mean, Daniel, did you actually watch the event? I mean,
I had every intention of watching it, but it was at 3 a.m. my time.
Yeah.
And normally when I used to work at Samsung, Apple events, none at all. Apple events were like, I tried my best to avoid them purely just because I didn't want to make myself upset, because I would watch parts of it and then I'd see that they had announced something that we'd had on Samsung for like 2 years, and they talk about it, everyone's clapping, and I'm like, I can't do this to myself. So I avoided it, and I woke up in a panic in a way. I was like, because I really wanted to make a video about, it's kind of like what I did last year, which was 10 Reasons Why video. And I was like, I've missed it all. And then when I started reading Twitter, I was like, I haven't missed anything. like just from a announcement point of view, there was nothing that blew anyone away. Yeah, there was like features, but I don't even think they needed an event to announce like a button or to talk through the Apple Intelligence stuff. It's not a button. It's like a capacitive, like it's not actually a physical button, right? Like it's
camera control. Yeah, exactly.
No, they're saying it's not a button, but it's a freaking button. Yeah,
it's a button.
Yeah.
It depresses. Yeah.
So I mean, I've written about it. I've made videos about it. I just had, because you know what it's like. The morning of the event, we're pretty sure what we're going to get by that point. There's very few surprises, and it sounded so empty that I thought there must be a one more thing. And I was banking on the iPad Mini. I thought they're going to throw that in at the end.
I know.
Give us something. And I was watching it through, and of course, as you know, I made a video the same night on it, and that was odd because I kept making after the event finished. Obviously, I went through, made all my bullet points, my notes for the video, and I thought I must have missed something. And then I began thinking when I went home to bed, which was in a wee small hours, I thought, what's the difference between the 16 and the 16 Plus and the Pro and Pro Max? You're getting virtually everything on the Pro Max at £200 less. And I came back in the next morning, I began going through the specs. I thought, Jesus, they really have made them virtually. I dropped the 48 megapixel macro, dropped the 5X, and 120 hertz refresh.
I think that's good, actually. I think that's good. So you only go to the Pro Max if you want that bigger display.
Yeah,
which
and
I
those
think
three
is
things.
how they started. The difference, I think, it's always used to be like that, right? The cameras were exactly the same on both.
Yeah, they are.
Displays
are both.
didn't like the 15 Pro not having the 5X, for example, last year.
But they did it a couple of years ago, didn't they?
Mm-hmm.
Like wasn't there like the 13 Pro Max and the 13 Pro didn't have the same main camera? Like the 13 Pro Max had a bigger main camera, and the 13 Pro had a smaller version of that camera. So there's this history of them doing it. It's just separating the higher and the lower. But I guess this year they kind of found a way to make them the same. And I think that was probably making the phone bigger, like 6.3 inches versus 6.1, was it last year with the standard Pro?
And it's the Pro Max this year is 6.9 as opposed to 6.7. But Alex and I both got dummy units, and the actual physical size of the phone there's millimeters in it. I mean, there's nothing there. What the display is going to look like for real with the slightly slimmer bezels, I don't know. But I mean, I'm sure everybody, just to sort of round up what we got a new Watch 10. But even that was odd. Not once they mentioned the 10th anniversary. They could have made a really big thing. This is the 10th anniversary. The difference is made to health, the amount of lives it saved, the healthier lifestyles we got. They could have really gone to town on it. Nope. Just said we got an OLED display that you can see from more angles. That was
they didn't call it X, which I thought was interesting.
Exactly. No mention of that.
Because of Elon Musk.
Then we had the
true.
Then we had the all new Watch Ultra with the black. Which I do really want. It looks lovely, but yeah, all we got was a couple of bands.
See, this is when my blood start boiling a bit. It's like, what was the point of that?
I know. Why to give it even? And they used the same basic video from last year of what the Ultra can do. We know what the Ultra. It's been out for 2 years. You know,
and Watch Ultra 2 wasn't really anything.
No,
right?
No.
He added the pinch thing, which is like whatever.
Yeah. So that's the watches done, the big brouhaha about the watches. AirPods, the all-new AirPods range, the entirely new AirPods range.
The two of them.
Yeah, well, exactly. So we've got I'll go into what I've ordered in a minute, but we've got AirPods 4 now, and then you've got a slightly more expensive version of AirPods 4 with noise cancelling and USB-C and wireless.
And the hearing aid thing, right? Which I thought was quite good, actually.
That's on AirPod Pro.
Right.
AirPod Pro 2, that's a software update, which I got slammed for. I was just telling Daniel, I'd finished the video, uploaded it, thought I've covered all the bases, I'm done. The last comment I saw before I went to sleep was some smart ass saying, you forgot to mention AirPods Pro 2. Oh, I forgot a software update. Okay, hands up. I apologize. I forgot a software update. So AirPods, of course, the big one was we've got a brand new set of AirPods Max. Well, you say that. We got an orange with a USB-C connector.
Nothing update. Yeah, it's like, okay, we were forced to put USB-C in there, and we added some colors. That should have been a press release. Sorry. What?
It couldn't be asked to put the H2 in it. So all the goodies the AirPods Pro you've got, we haven't got on the Max.
Is there a way? Sorry, Alex. That Apple are getting a bit, or like they didn't have enough to fill out this event. So they needed to bring in these nothing updates. Yeah, right. Like, and the fact that they've pre-recorded it too, it's almost as if they're relying on the polish of their recording and their production to sort of show off the new products, as opposed to it being actually like really meaningful updates. They're more or less saying, we're a production marketing company. Look how good our production looks for this new Black Watch Ultra 2. Like, you all want it because of how polished our video looked.
Yeah.
And it's worked, to be honest, that's worked. You've seen the response on Twitter. Everyone is saying, wow, I need this. I must have this straight away. And it's like, you've got to watch Ultra 2 already, but they want to change it for the black one. So Apple, like, as much as everyone sits here and says it pans them, I think in a way what they've demonstrated is that they know what they're doing. Like, if they don't have much for an iPhone update this year, they will just polish it in production and make it look amazing. And people kind of can say what they want, but people will line up and purchase it. It's going to happen.
And it's quite a sad state. I mean, I watched some of the exec interviews, some creators that I highly respect and look up to in some cases. I saw them interviewing the execs like at Apple Park, and the answers. I mean, fair play to some of the creators who were actually brave enough to ask questions like, "What do you mean you're launching an iPhone with the features that are not out yet, and they may not even be out for another year in some countries? What was the rationale there?" And the answer being so blasé about, "Oh yeah, we made a phone that is going to be ready for Apple Intelligence," as if Apple Intelligence were some sort of fucking like amazing thing that we must have a A18 chip to process. It's a bloody Chat GPT dressed up as Apple. It's nothing special. I just found that so like uninspiring for a company that I used to really like be excited about. Every year I used to look up like, gosh, iPhone is out. Let's go have a look at it. Now it's like I'm almost tempted not to get anything. Because it's like, what's the point?
Not to make this Samsung related, but I'm just going to introduce a little bit of Samsung.
Yeah. No,
this week, Samsung's the Galaxy AI update with all the Galaxy AI features from the Fold 6 and Flip 6 has just started rolling out globally on S24 Ultra, S24 Plus, S24. It's going to be on S23, S23 Plus, S23 Ultra, and on the S22 series. So they're pushing all those AI features that just came out on their newest phone.
Even on the S22?
I believe so. I think the S22 got it earlier this year as well. I believe so.
Right. Have Samsung on board now with these long-term updates on their devices, like the 6-7 years that Google have done? Is that
starting with the S24, it's going to be 7 years of OS updates. Before that, I think it was 4 years of OS and 5 years of security updates.
So still meaningful, yeah.
Still long. And I think it's kind of flipped in a way, like where Apple used to be like, yeah, our older phones will be getting all of the big iOS updates, all the iOS features. Apple have kind of saying, well, no, you need to get this shining new one with this new A18 Pro chip that
same with the iPads, right? Exactly the same.
And I do believe, so I don't know if it's something I read or heard, I don't know, but again, to your point, Alex, when you said about, why bring the phone out when there's nothing, it was purely a Wall Street job. And that's the sad fact of it. It is now purely to do with numbers, Wall Street, board level, shareholders. Yeah, we've got to have the event in September. Even got nothing to show.
You hear like Mark Gurman and all these, kind of Apple like fans
all his leaks were wrong, by the way.
Yes. Yeah. But one of the things that is consistent is every year they say it's a super cycle. I mean, to an extent, every year is going to be a super cycle. Not a lot of people upgrade their phones every year. But yeah, that there's just hyping up something that's not really there. Like you're saying, it's like you could absolutely easily have called this the iPhone 15s, and the 15 could have been a 14s, and so on.
Yeah,
but it's just that doesn't sell, right? You have to make it so like, oh yeah, we added a special button that does stuff, but.
The sad truth is, though, that even with, and I'm, no means sitting here trying to defend Apple at all. I just happen to use an iPhone. It's, it's nothing more than that. It's a choice. But with the iPhone, even as bland as it is, they still know they're going to ship bucket loads. And that's why it's so important for them. On carrier deals and whatever, they had to have this September event, because if they knocked it back until October, they would have lost a whole month of revenue, which is going to be billions. And it's sad that it's down to numbers now. And you say, not that creativity, not that freshness, not that ingenuity that kind of was Apple's thing.
Yeah, and it's sad as well, not just from an Apple's perspective, because I can be here just criticize Apple to the cows come home. But the reality is they are leaders in not just in tech, but they're leaders in all sorts of areas globally. But they are kind of an example. So if they are not pushing the boundaries, the competitors are going to look at this and go, well, there's no point us pushing it either, right? So I don't see anyone rushing to do anything innovative in this space, because they're looking at the best ones and going, they're not bothered. So,
I mean, it does come down to, again, the argument, I suppose, that we're kind of roughly somewhere around about max slab phones. Before we start talking folders,
for a few years now, right? But it's still, they have an opportunity to change something and make something a little bit more exciting. Even if they were to say, look, we're working on a foldable phone. Even if they just said that would kind of get people excited about the brand again, I'd say. But it's like, here's exactly the same phone again with a slightly small upgrade, you know?
If they said they were working on a foldable phone, I feel like that would end up putting attention onto the foldable market. And I don't think they want that right now when they're not in it. If they say we're working on a foldable phone, people will be like, what's a foldable phone? Because the awareness is still quite low. As much as Samsung have brought out 6 of them, there's still a very low awareness of foldables. So if they were to say, yeah, we're working on a foldable, then all these Apple consumers that'll be like, well, what's a foldable? And they'd find out what's available. And then they're like, oh, maybe I need to think about that right now. Yeah, exactly.
It's interesting you mentioned that, Daniel, because when I was doing all this stuff early last year with Marcus, my renders guy that, was massive into the AR, VR space. And he said, and he's just a massive fan of AR and VR. And he said, I'm so happy Apple are getting on board, even if it fails, because people will suddenly read and begin to want to understand what AR, it brings their people into his world. And it was that same thing you're saying, if they mention something, they're doing anything, if they were to go and make a camera, can you imagine suddenly everyone will be talking about getting cameras and so on. They've just still got that power. They've got that clout. And this year, unfortunately, kind of at that event, they abused it. It was weak, and I was just kind of numb at the end. Yes, it is beautifully shot. I mean, they are the masters of that, fine. Yeah. But taking that away, when you actually look at what we've got, and so I think the AirPods Max was one of the, how could they not put, they've got the H2 chip. It's a chip's got to go in there. And
I think this is where I sometimes have to go, even though I hate saying this, but it's like that product works beautifully.
Yeah.
Like from an audio quality, you really can't fault it. I mean, I've tried so many other headphones. Yeah, it's very close and sometimes better than even newer ones. Like, you can look at other competitors out there. I haven't tested the Sonos one, but those still sound amazing, even with that original chip. But I just thought it didn't deserve airtime.
No, it was a press release
to be announced. And this is Apple's main event of the year, right? It's the iPhone event. You shouldn't have got the airtime.
Well, you think
it could have been an hour-long thing focused on the iPhone and all the other stuff. I mean, maybe 5 seconds on.
Well, you think last January in a press release we got Mac Minis. And one of the Ultras, I think, got actually quite meaningful products. We've got HomePods, which hadn't been on the market for 3 or 4 years. That was all done on press release, and yet here we are talking about a new Watch 10 with a couple of colours, a Watch Ultra with a couple of colours, and all of the AirPods minor tweaks. And so today, I know I've been saying to you boys on the groups that I need to be off air by 1 because it's the pre-order. Luckily, I've got this whole thing. I got really lucky. I went up to that event with Apple a couple of weeks ago. It's Apple Business that sort of buddied up with me. Anyway, it means I've got this Apple Business account. I didn't really know what it meant, but as soon as the event was over on Tuesday, they phoned me and said, do you want to order anything? And they put it in the basket for me. I've got no website crashing risks. And I just phoned them and said, I am okay. I'm not doing anything today. I said, no, it's all here. We've got it all for you. So I've got the 16 Pro Max coming, of course, 256 gigs in Desert Titanium. I asked a lot of viewers which AirPods they wanted me to check, and they said the AirPods 4 without noise cancelling, so those are on order. And because I found a friend of mine that is willing to buy my AirPods Max, I have bought a pair of AirPods Max. So I am that idiot.
The marketing worked. I
need content, I need clicks, I need views, and it will work. I need, this is my time of years, we all get this look, and I've just got to push it. Would I bought them? Absolutely not. And even worse, I bought them in fucking orange. I am going to look such a dick walking down the road wearing bright orange because it's going to look great on thumbnails.
That's exactly right.
So I had no choice.
That's why you get it.
That's why I got it. There's no way I'd have bought orange ever. I'm a very subtle kind of a person. So that's what I've got coming a week today. But and out of that,
But isn't that right? That there'll be one of those videos. I'm pretty sure if it's not out already, I bought every color this. I bought every color that. Like, okay, that's the end of the interest, right?
I will try to be as objective as I can. Will I notice any? Well, there won't be any sound quality difference between them. Really, it's just making a new video where I can do some lovely B-roll of a USB-C port. It's kind of it, isn't it?
I think last year I think I took a long time to decide that the Pro was the right phone for me. This year it'll be a much quicker decision.
Are you buying anything? Because I know you're joking on a group saying, I don't need to pre-order, I'm not doing anything. You're getting something, are you?
I have to, I've committed to videos that are sponsored videos that have to feature the iPhone. So,
So what one are you getting?
The cheapest Pro Max. So whichever, it's 256, isn't it, the lowest?
Same as me, yeah. But I mean, it's interesting because when I was making my long term of the 15, I've only got 256 now, and I've still got half of the storage. So it's plenty for me.
Yeah, never use. I mean, I use it the most when it's like this first couple of weeks of reviewing it. So you're trying ProRes and all that. In reality, I don't remember going out and saying, I need to shoot this in ProRes. Even for videos, if I'm using the iPhone for videos on YouTube, it will be a standard 4K 60 clip that I will use. So the space is not an issue for me.
And I think one of the biggest features that I don't know if it got mentioned or not, but it's they've put, and you might already have this on Samsung Video, I don't know, that you can pause on recording. Is that? Yeah, I don't know. That's obviously, okay, judging by your face, that's been around for a while.
Major things, a huge thing.
But for me, that was a really useful thing, because if you know what it's like, you're trying to take, like that car thing I was at recently, where there's gaps in between. It's got it's on
pause
there.
And screen recording as well. You can, if you're screen recording, you can pause that too. Well, it's like, it's really useful.
I don't want to set myself up for a fall, but yeah, so that was good. But this is the point. They are playing catch up and they know it.
It shouldn't be announced. I mean, it's so embarrassing that they actually wrote it as a feature in the thing, like in the main event. When they showed this
I didn't know that.
Amazing graphic of all the new features together in one page, pause while recording is one of them. It's like, that's embarrassing.
I mean, my old camcorders from like the 90s could do that. Okay.
Yeah.
At some point, I would like to get my hands on an Ultra, and just not for clicks, actually, just for purely out of my own interest. Because I briefly had the Pixel last year. I haven't got any Android. I've sold all now, but I would kind of like just to get the Ultra. As much as anything for our podcast, just I've got an idea, just to begin using it and playing. So I might look for, I don't know, refurb or something like that. Or
it's a great. I think I'm having issues.
Alex might have my old one somewhere.
The one that got lost.
I wish I could find it because that's the S23 Ultra, right?
That is theirs, yeah.
The one with good battery life. Is the battery life still a problem on the 24s? Is that just been an issue this year?
For me, yes.
I just got the new update, so I'm going to test and see what it's like. So far, it seems to be better, but I haven't had it. It's only been like 3 or 4 days since it's installed.
Same,
so
for me, it's bad. Yeah, I just got used to it now, but it's noticeably worse than S23 Ultra. But anyway, let's not talk about that because I think there's lots of Apple stuff.
And I have now put iOS 18 on my main phone as well. I put it on my 14 Pro a couple of days back. It looked good. I was just worried about the banking apps. It's that near to release now. I figured all the glitches. So I've actually put it on my main device. So I started playing with it now. First time I've had a play with iOS 18. And it's addictive for a day or two, I think.
So is Apple Intelligence on there or not?
No. And even Siri, if I press for Siri, I still just get the normal button at the bottom, not the glowing edge or anything. None of that's coming.
So why would they go so hard with talking about it when it's not even ready? Apparently, there was an ad they showed apparently today of a feature that's not launching for like 6 months to do with Siri.
The good stuff, intelligent Siri is a long way off. I believe it's going to be possibly even WWDC next year.
Which is sad, right? Because when in my initial videos, I was actually quite positive about the iPhone. I kept saying this could be the first iPhone, not the Pro Max, the first regular iPhones. That might be actually a meaningful upgrade because you're getting Apple Intelligence, and they skipped the processor to from A16 to 18. So that's like awesome for them to then say actually it's going to be beta in the US. In December, maybe something like that, and then rolling out to other countries maybe next year. It's like, oh my God, are you kidding me?
But even then, of course, it's not going to be available in China or in Europe. There's a lot of legislation to go up. China possibly never, but certainly Europe. I
think you said it in your video, David, that it seems like Apple were caught short-handed with AI. Was it your video? I think it was your video that I saw it in. They caught short-handed and they were just like rushing to get something together to show people.
Yeah.
So at least people think that they're on the AI train when really they're still working on it and behind.
That's exactly it. I said, because I highlighted on this point where they said it's the first ground up iPhone. I thought, that's bollocks. They don't know what to do. They clearly don't know what to do. I'm fairly confident when we do get it, it'll be amplified and it'll be that kind of more step back measured, the kind of AI that
it doesn't look different to ChatGPT or any other AI features. I mean, all the features they show, like removing something from a photo. Jesus, really?
Yeah, I know. I know.
been doing this for ages.
Possibly one of the things they've got going in their favour is they built their own service centres for this ChatGPT service. So in theory, it's completely within the Apple garden. I'm assuming they're not selling us a Mickey on that, but that's kind of the only bonus. Other than that, we all know it is ChatGPT, and we know they're talking to Google as well. They will take on any LLMs they can to get as much information as they can. They are so slow on it. Now, how much AI I would actually use on the phone, that is for a whole nother debate that we can talk about. But they have clearly been I don't know why they got so blindsided. They are a $1 trillion company.
I mean,
they've got the best brains in the world.
Showed, like writing tools, right? Which I think is the same name, or writing assist as well.
And that is coming in this update, I think, yeah.
So that's really useful. And that's probably the only thing that is worth using on a daily basis. I use that all the time. And actually makes you more efficient, more productive, which is a great thing to have on your phone. But yeah, I can't believe why can't they release that to everybody?
And I mean, again, I'm thinking now some of the features that they were talking about. And there was this thing they showed in a coffee shop where they were recording handheld on an iPhone, a movie, effectively, and then talking about this audio mix that they've got. And I thought,
that looks good, actually.
It looks good, but when would you ever use it? You would never, ever, ever record something with the inbuilt mics on a phone, ever. So I'm thinking, when would you ever, if you're just going to use that to make little Matilda's school play sound better when she's 6 or something, fine. But you're not going to use it. If you turned up to a pro environment, which is what they were showing it in, handheld and no mics, okay, you're like, fine, who have you hired here? I just don't think it's when it's going to get used. I really don't, unless I'm missing something obvious, when would you ever want to use it? Yeah. I wouldn't make a video for YouTube.
There's a trick as well, right? Because that's only available on the Pro. And that's the differentiator. It's like, because the voice recording thing, that was really useful, right? To kind of be able to record and then
multi-track,
it's like you can record and kind of
it's a multi-track,
like singing on top of a song and then remove the song completely. That was awesome. But
and
again, you need the Pro for some reason.
And again, I made a point of saying, that's niche. And for my radio days, my daughter did a jazz degree. I've mixed with a lot of musicians over the years, and I can tell you for sure that musicians, whatever phone it is, they do get out a phone and they get an idea and they just suddenly either record a lyric, put down a beat, a chord. Yeah. So that to them, if they can then multi-track that, if they're in, at home, put down a piano chord, come out, do a vocal load. Yeah. But again, how many of us? It's brilliant. Yes, it is a pro phone. Yes, it's a pro feature. I'll give you that. But it's for so few people out there. I will never multi-track a voice memo.
No, but if you think about it, I like that as well. But again,
I know you love your slow mo. Yeah,
the pros.
Again, also on the S24 Ultra.
That's 4K 24, 4K 120.
Yeah, and Sony too, right? Because Sony had it. I think Sony had it first. 4K.
Yeah, so that cam, because again, that's one of the rumors they got wrong. Everyone was calling it the capture button. It's called the camera control button, for what it's worth. But compared to the Sony's got something equivalent to that already.
Yeah, Sony's not the first one to do it. I think Samsung did it ages ago on the flippy phones. They had a camera, a shutter button on that. But so it's not new from a shutter perspective, but that's all it does on the Sony. You can half press it and press it, to focus and all that. What they showed is actually way more advanced. You can zoom in, you can switch between functions, you can change. My take on it was that could have been a UI thing. It is a UI thing today. So even if you want people to slide over it, it could still be a UI thing. You didn't need to add a button but I guess I can imagine the exec meetings going, right, we
need something.
We've added the action button. It's almost like going back. We'll end up with a BlackBerry. It's like buttons everywhere. I remember Steve Jobs saying we want to have our phones with no buttons. That was the original iPhone idea.
No, I think they clearly thought, look, we need a hook. We need something to sell this bloody phone to people over.
Please give me something.
Yeah.
They're like, okay, I know. I'll just add something to the top.
I mean, clearly I'm looking forward to playing with it, predominantly because it's the only thing I have got to play with.
And maybe
I'm sure there's a whole video in it.
Oh, there'll be several. Don't you doubt me. There'll be several. Photographic styles, they made a big thing of as well. Now, apparently filters have completely gone off. I don't know how this fits in with Samsung again, but the idea with photographic styles is they're far more advanced, they're far more color graded, and they're baked in at sensor level. And you can then alter them more in post. So filters have now gone. Everything's going to be if you want to alter any image, if I think I'm right here, it's all going to be through photographic styles.
Yeah, I saw that. It looks great. I mean, to change the colors is almost like it gives you a more unique view, right? Rather than just use the same filter as everyone else is doing.
Did they need a new phone to have that?
Exactly.
Existing phones are powerful enough.
They'll probably tell you it's A18 that they need for it. I mean, it's not. I think it's being rolled out onto other phones. But again, you're getting that on the 2 non-Pro phones as well. And I know you said, Alex, you were happy with it. And honestly, it's those 3 things. If you can do without 120 refresh, if you can do without the larger sensor on the macro, and you're not desperate to have 5X, save yourself £200. It's a great phone. We use our phones slightly differently. And obviously, even then, it's not in our real lives, as it were. We go out and do camera testing to make content and show what it's capable of.
Yeah, you touched on another point that there's a lot of contention online. I'm not sure if real customers, if it's a real problem. For me, it is, because I definitely notice 60 hertz versus 120 hertz. Like it's to me is day and night. But it's another one that they could have easily said the iPhone now has 90 hertz, right? Even if it was just a little upgrade. But no, it's still 60 hertz.
Now, the problem I have with the iPhone 16 and 16 Plus is the price, the features to value ratio, the features to price ratio, because they charge, like in Australia, it's like $13.99, I think, for the 16. And when you sort of line it up in other brands in the segment, and I'm not even just talking Samsung here, I'm talking Pixel, I'm talking the other sort of Chinese manufacturers that have sort of brought in phones at that segment, or even in the lower end, mid-range, you are getting from your price point more value and sort of more flexibility with some hardware stuff. Like you are getting a telephoto camera. And I know that if you don't need it, big deal, but people will say they don't need it. And they're like, oh, wouldn't it be lovely to zoom in at this concert we're at? And they'll zoom in with their 16 and it'll be like, oh, it's a terrible photo. And I'm like, well, charge less. Like if you're not offering that sort of value, you can charge $1,100, and they would wipe the floor with that market at $1,100. But I just think for what they're getting, I feel like they know they can charge that bit of premium because it's got that Apple logo, even without offering what the competition is.
Because we've got this international flavour now, just a question that's come to mind as you're talking, actually. When you're walking down the streets in Australia, what are the main phones you see being used? Is Apple as popular over there as it is in the States?
Yeah, it's probably about 60% of the market here, maybe between 60 and 65. But it's not necessarily the Pro Max. I see a lot of people with like 13s and 14s and 15s walking around, like, because I can see the angular, the camera module where it's
the
like
giveaway,
that. Yeah, it's giveaway. And in my head, I'm like, oh, didn't want to get the Pro. And it's because they don't care. And it's like, I don't care. I just want an iPhone. And this is the cheapest iPhone that's new. And then they'll hold on to that for 3 years. And then the cycle will come through. The new one will come out. They'll do it all over again. It's just an ingrained behavior. They don't even know that their phone has an A17 Bionic or A15. They have absolutely no idea.
90% of the features on there they don't know about either. And it's funny enough, as well, I was going up to Lords on the train recently, and I was actually on a commuter train with people, which I'm still recovering from, and I'm deep cleansing every day to try and get over that experience. But I then noticed that we assume that everyone is on bang up to date phones. And you realize, I was sitting there looking, that's an iPhone 5, that's an iPhone 7. And it was, Samsungs that were clearly old and battered. And I was seeing people use PCs that must have been built back in the day. That's what people do for their jobs, for their lives. As long as they can see what time the train's coming in, they're kind of happy. We get into a very warped reality. We're very lucky and we love what we do. And clearly we love gadgets and tech, blah, blah, blah. But, you realize what people actually use their phones for. And it's a very different real life to what we kind of make out at times, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I've got stuff coming. I was just, it was my time, and we're expecting another event probably in late October, early November with Max. But again, they could have given us Apple TV at this event. They could have given us a new 4K TV with more storage on. At least it was a box to show, but just nothing.
So in terms of what was leaked, like, throughout the year of what would come at this event, what didn't get announced that everyone was like bang on sure was going to happen?
I don't think there's anything that was bang on sure, but until about a month out, we thought Mac Minis. That was the one. We're going to get a Mac Mini with loads of USB-C ports on it and
iPad Mini as well. iPad Mini was like...
that was the other one. That's what I said. Because I kept thinking that's going to be the one more thing. They've got to pepper this up. They've got to drop us something at the end that goes, okay, wow, now I really want that. It just never came. So yeah, those were the two things, iPad Mini and Mac Minis. But clearly they decided no, and to a lesser degree, Apple TV. But that was kind of it. People were talking about
AirPods Max too, right? Like AirPods Max.
Yeah, they were talking about AirPods Max, but assuming we'd get the H2 chip, assuming we might even get an on-off button, but to really just rebrand it with the same shite case, with no sensors, the same H2. Without that H2 chip, it is, yes, the sound signature is brilliant, and Apple with a history of music. I know, I'm aware my voice is on this podcast a lot, I know, but it's kind of my one of the year. So
it's exactly, take it.
And I'm as pissed off as the next person. I love what they make. I love the way they look, they feel. And I just feel so let down and so cheated that something like the AirPods Max, which is gorgeous, it's lovely engineering, it feels wonderful on your head, you're wearing it, it feels quality, the sound is beautiful, spatial audio works a treat on it. Yep. But it's dated. It is now dated. Conversation awareness, no, because we haven't got the H2 chip. Okay, I've got my opinions on conversation awareness. I still think it looks bloody rude to wear a pair of headphones, even AirPods, and carry on talking to somebody. But by the by, it should be there for £500.
I call my ear muffs Max, but yeah, it.
Let's not focus on that.
That's good. You're right. It sounds amazing, but yeah,
and since I've sort of now doing. Obviously, since I lost Alice and everything, and I used to spend half my working day at home to be with her and stuff, and then come in here in the afternoons. I'm here now from sort of 8:30 in the morning, and I'm using these all of the time. I've got studio monitors in front of me, but when you're working alone, you both know what it's like. Actually, headphones make sense because it just keeps you in your world. I've got a road outside there. The noise cancelling is second to none because of over-the-ear headphones. They're lovely, good battery life, all of that fine. But to call it AirPods 2, come on. And even when I was ordering with the Apple Business Group, so I just drew breath and thought another thing incensed me. I was saying yesterday, because I was actually out getting a coffee when he phoned back and said, what do you want to put in? And I said, well, what are the new colours? Oh, they're all new colours. The Midnight Blue's got a little bit extra essence of blue in. Come on, man. I said, come on. I'm buying it anyway. Don't dress this up. What is the new colour? Orange. Okay. I will look a prick. Put orange in the basket. Thank you.
Unbelievable. You can just buy a mod for it, right? You don't actually need, anyway. Yeah. And it's still 500 and whatever. I think it's still quite expensive.
It's it's $495 or something here, and $550 in the US. And I don't know what that would convert to. Did you see many people wearing in Australia?
I saw my first ever person wear a pair of AirPods Max just walking outside my house the other day, and I was like, I had a double take. I was like, that's a pair of AirPods Max. I've never seen anyone wear it.
They've suddenly turned the corner. I think you'll agree. Like now, when you go up to London, suddenly they are popular. It took 3 or 4 years, but now I think for a time people just I was certainly concerned. You're putting a 550 quid price tag on your head. They are going to get pinched within a minute of wearing them. It's all well and good they got Firemite on them, but really. They have now become quite popular over here, certainly. And went up in town, every other person you see, if they're an Apple user, will be using AirPods Max, but they were lazy. There's no getting, something happened this year, whether the whole AI thing has spooked them, whether the Apple Car thing before that was dumped, took all the resources away, whether they've just run out of ingenuity, which would be the biggest shame, because when jobs came back and things turned around, let's face it, we've got all of the phones now thanks to that first iPhone. It took things on from BlackBerry and it reinvented what we expected. And suddenly they just taken this safe dive down. Let's keep the shareholders happy. Let's keep Wall Street happy. We'll have our September event, even if we've got jack shit to offer. We'll get it out. That's kind of where it seems to be.
Yeah, I am looking forward to trying the AirPods 2, whichever they said that they've tested for. Is it? They tested thousands of years.
Oh, yes.
They want to, so I want to test that because the first of its kind that actually works for me was this latest Buds 3 Pro from Samsung. They stay on, like they never fall out. Running in the rain, went to Portugal, really hot, obviously sweating a lot. And they always stay on, whether, in Berlin this last week, I was going through these cobblestones on a scooter. No problem. They really, I never got that. Even with the AirPods Pro that I've got from Apple, 5 minutes into our run, I can already feel them like, kind of getting loose. So I'm looking forward to seeing what they really done from a ergonomics point of view to see if it actually stays on now.
The first AirPods I had, which weren't Pro, they were better fit on the whole. They stayed in better. They were more comfortable. You weren't constantly
with the
doing
big stem,
yeah. So I don't know if that was just the weight design. I don't know. So I will be interested to see what these ones, which are called open ear ones, so they haven't got silicone tips. I'll see. I don't obviously that I'm getting the ones without noise cancelling on. It'd be interesting to see what the audio's like, out in the street and how affected they are, or how good the drivers are. So yeah, it'd be interesting to see where they sit with those. I'm confused why they brought AirPods 4 with noise cancelling as well, because that is so close to AirPods Pro. I don't quite understand. You're getting supposedly slightly better. But again, it comes down to this thing. How many people are listening in an audio-friendly environment? You need to be in a sound-treated room to get the most out of any headphones or audio equipment. And if you're on a tube train or subway, you're not going to be getting the best out of the audio anyway. Yeah. So, well, that's Apple done. Now, I think we've kind of thrashed that one to pieces. So by the time we talk next, I will have had my gear through so we can begin to talk about thoughts and have they actually done anything meaningful this year? God,
why I returned my iPhone videos. The first one will be I was wrong, and then why I returned it.
And Daniel, I haven't watched your earbuds video yet. I saw you did a complete review of all of them, didn't you? Which I need to sit down and watch. So
that was a big one and it tanked, so I was happy with that.
We'll get another view over the weekend, don't we? Yeah. And before, as we begin to get ready now to go into the business side of things, last night I sat down and I was putting on YouTube, seeing what was new. Somebody stole my title for their thumbnail. Well, you tell me. Mine was up a few days before his, and I called it Pro or No. Suddenly, I'm seeing Pro or No. I thought, okay, either you've got exactly the same mindset as me, and it was a British guy, and I'm thinking, okay, maybe.
That's so annoying. Yeah, because there's nothing you can do.
No,
but it's like, come on, man, come up with your own thing.
Well, 3 words. I mean, you tell me. I mean, even if he'd done No or Pro, he just literally copy and pasted.
I saw and that did well, that video too. Like that thumbnail, I think that would have had good CTR, I'd imagine.
Yeah, it was actually, because the last 2 videos, because of time, I've not managed to do an ABC. It's just been the one that went up the same night. I had 3 thumbnails sitting waiting, in fairness, that I'd done over the weekend, and all I did was cut out and put a picture of the 16 in once it was released. But the one that is beginning to perform, and as I was mentioning to Daniel again, Alex, just before you joined us, that last video of mine is the first time I've ever witnessed changing a title and suddenly it just took off. Literally, it had nothing. And even now it's getting sort of a view a minute. It's just from changing the title to something. And even then it wasn't clickbait. It was just a little bit more punchy. But yeah, the thumb came to me naturally, yeah.
I find it difficult to know what actually made the video perform. So I think that I've noticed a consistent time delay that never used to happen. So the first 2 hours, the video is not going anywhere.
Oh, you're finding that too?
It's only going to your audience. So even on the popular video that I did the other day, which is like, I do every year. Mm-hmm. So YouTube should know that video is gonna get lots of views. No, it doesn't. It didn't go out to be serviced for like search or browse features after 2 hours.
I noticed impressions are way down, aren't they? Those first couple of hours, they're not given out to anybody, no matter how on point you are.
After that, if your audience watched it and they're clicking through it and watching for long, then it will go wider. But yeah, it's just.
I'm glad you mentioned that. Also, something else that you mentioned in the last podcast was that you weren't using tags. And I actually...
I barely used them.
No, I've not. And also, have you noticed on that box where we put the tags now, it says, only use these if you're mentioning a term that might be hard to spell or hard to define. They've really watered that back in, haven't they? Where you can put in up to 500. I mean, I put in...
They should just remove if it doesn't do anything, they should just remove it. The lack of transparency when it comes to... I mean, okay, we're getting A/B tests now, but it's just so like leaving to us to understand it. Even... categorizing a video, right? Right now we have to call it, I mean, at least in my case, I don't know what you guys do, but I have to call it science and technology.
And lifestyle, isn't it? Something like that, yeah.
Science technology is what I
if you
call
choose
mine
lifestyle,
as well.
that's different to what I do. So, you know, I
think you're right, actually, yeah.
Yeah,
Science
it doesn't
technology,
make sense. There isn't a tech,
No.
like, you know, consumer tech or whatever category, which would be perfect. But so who knows where the videos go?
Where are you at with tags? Are you using them, Daniel, or not?
I loaded a bunch in when I first started the channel. And every time I upload a new video, I hit reuse details and then just pick like a relevant video or closely related video, untick the title, and then maybe like delete a tag or add one in. Other than that, I don't touch it.
And hashtags?
Hashtags, again, same situation. They're just in there from the previous video and that's it. I don't really tinker or touch with them too much. Or if the brand asks from a sponsor level, put these hashtags in, like whatever, sure. And
the first three are meant to be the most important ones, hashtags. So I definitely make those first three.
You're going to use three, can't you?
No,
they'll be the ones that show. You can use as many as you want, but the ones that will show are the first three. So the first three hashtags, I actually think about them and, you know, make them relevant. Yeah. I'll look at the most viewed videos already out, see what
Google
hashtags
trends, whatever.
Used.
Yeah. More scientific than mine.
Well, equally,
it does help, I think.
It goes to prove again, you know, content is always king, because the video mine is doing reasonably well at the moment. There's no timestamps in that, but it was just a morning after conversation, and it just hit the curve, I think, at the right time. People who had a chance to watch it, chance to read on Twitter what was going on, and then it was just a bit of a conversation and recapping sort of calmly. There was no subtitles, there was no SRT file. There was all the work I normally do. One thumbnail, a very easy thumbnail. And yet, I think it just goes to prove that it was the right video at the right time that people were interested in.
Yeah, topic and time, it beats everything else. Yeah, so sometimes you can have the best thumbnail, the best title, if it's a topic that people are not interested in. Like, yeah,
it can be. The timing is quite everything. Like that's pretty much what contributed to my August being like in a slump.
You were saying you had a slow August, right?
Yeah, and it was just due to the fact that the timing of the videos I was making was behind what was needed. Like the Watch Ultra video was behind the timing because I got it late. The Buds 3 Pro video, just geographically, just because of where I am located. You know, my fold arrived late, so I was already behind the 8 ball with some of my fold content that I wanted to make. And it just contributed to a really slow month, like all round. Like my Buds videos didn't crack 10K, and last year's Buds video got over 200, I think. The Buds comparison video did. And this one didn't even, the two videos I made have done like 9 and 3. And it's just because I got them late. I didn't get them on time. So it's just part of the game.
Yeah, and we know, right? Each channel is different, but we kind of have a feel now after a year or two of doing this. You kind of get a feel for what your audience will click on and what they will understand. And like I do this one video that's probably the only video that I can predict that it will do well. But here's something I don't know if you guys came across before, but when a brand tries to tell you that they know best in terms of timing. So you've got a sponsor in a video and you say, right, I'm going to publish in the peak time when I think my audience will be online and have the best chance to watch it. So for this one video, I actually uploaded and I said months ago, and I said to the brand, look, this video, I have full control of it. I don't care what you think. I'm uploading. If you don't want to be part of this video, I'm going to find someone else. And they agreed to it, no problem. The day before upload, this is the day before Apple's event, they go, actually, the product that we're talking about in that video, in that sponsor segment, is not out until after the event. Can you upload it later? I was like, no. That was the whole point. In fact, it's already uploaded. It's already scheduled. So no, it went live and they panicked, right? Because they woke up and I was like, here's the invoice. And they're like, oh, no. Can you down the video? I was like, no, that's not going to happen. So I ended up having to remove the entire sponsor segment and make another video that I didn't need to, but it's like, you gotta get paid, right? So I had to make a second video, which I wasn't going to do, which is a reaction to the event to fit the sponsor segment. So I don't know. Sometimes it's just annoying, right? Because and I was right. The video did exactly what I thought it would do. Just before the event, people are searching for the iPhone. Actually, during the event, for the hour, for just the first hour after the event, he got 10,000 views in 1 hour. Like, no other video does that. Throughout the year, that's never going to happen again. So yeah,
it's crazy.
It was crazy that they asked me to down the video. It's like, are you crazy? That's the one video that would bring me like lots of subs and lots of views. So no.
I think one thing I'm now going to start to put into my dealings with brands is giving them only so many rounds of alts. I had somebody making so many changes. I forget what version I ended up on, and it takes
share with
time.
You my contract?
I was going to ask you actually. I can't remember if you did or not. Maybe I'll get it off you
again.
again.
In the contract. I know this is a thing that I'm getting used to myself, to kind of say, actually, I know you've got your own contract, but here's mine. Because if you think about it, right? And this was another creator, Stu, who kind of said it was like, oh, makes perfect sense. Why don't we do it? No, if you're providing a service, you're the one with the contract. It shouldn't be like they want to advertise on a channel. It shouldn't be their contract.
Yeah, it's your song. Yeah.
So it's like, yeah, that makes perfect sense. But in there, you should say, yes, I'll provide a free review for factual checking. Like if I say the product name wrong, or if I mention a number that's wrong or whatever, that revision is free. But if you then start adding like, oh, can you change this? Can you change that? That's like, no, that's extra. And it will only apply if I missed the brief. It's just, because otherwise you're not really creating your own thing, right? You may as well be just an ad for them rather than a segment. So I think, that was you should charge extra.
Yeah, it's the first time I'd had that experience. I mean, most of the sponsors I've worked with until now have been pretty happy, and there might have been one minor thing. They might have just, it really would have been minor, but this one particular brand, boy, it's that you wake up and see that email, oh, you really smashed it, but then there's these 6 bullet points. It's like, okay, so that's another take. That is a whole, that's not just a small thing. So yeah, I've learned, but experience is the only way you're ever going to learn these things.
But you can push back. Now, if you're upfront with them and say at the beginning, hey, look, you can even say, right, here's the script and have a look. Am I saying anything that's inaccurate? Because even when I give you the draft, I'm not going to make any changes unless they are like, factual checks. Because if they say the style is, I had a brand recently ask me to remove the background music. I was like, that ain't happening. It's my bloody video.
Of their section or the whole video?
Of their section, yeah. But it was,
yeah.
It's like, no, you don't get the creative aspect of the video, right? You are,
I've been pretty fortunate. Like some of the bigger brand deals I've had have required me to send through 3 or 4 business days in advance, but I've never really got any notes. The only notes I got really were make sure you put the brand logo in the corner during the integration.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
It's easy. I can do that. I just forgot. I knew it was meant to be done. I just forgot to do it. But I did have one the other month where I sent through the script ahead of time to just go through what I was going to talk about. And they wanted me to change something where I wrote down a skit that I wanted to do to sort of introduce the feature or whatever it was. And they wanted me to do a different skit. And I said, well, no, I'm doing this one because it suits my humor and my style, not the one you've showed isn't authentic to me.
On the creative at all,
yeah. And to be fair to them, when I pushed back and I said, this is how I'd like to do it because the other way that you're asking me to do it isn't authentic to me, they said, okay, we'll trust you and we'll go with what you're saying. And to be fair, I ran with it and the video didn't do great. And they did try and approach me to try and put some dollars behind it in the let's do a promote with the video. And I said no, because I'm like, I don't want to do that. And someone else from the brand has reached out to me, out of the blue, just pretending that they haven't dealt with me before. And I feel like it's a setup. I feel like it's a setup because I haven't responded afterwards. I feel like they're like, oh, if he responds to this, then it's like, oh, we can go at him again. So I'm just like, might leave it.
Yeah, it's definitely a hot discussion. A lot of people are talking about it now, and it's becoming almost like a standard practice.
I heard you guys talking about it last pod.
Yeah, if they're using like Google ads, That's different.
That's what they wanted to do. They wanted to use Google Ads. So I don't know what the difference is, but that was what they wanted to do.
That's the legit way of doing it, but it's still buying views, right? In a way, it's not organic.
Yeah.
But if you're gonna do anything, I think that's probably the less risky approach, because I've had to delete videos before because they were sending fake views, and
it involved me approving them like back-end analytics for that specific video.
Yeah, that's the legit way of doing it.
Okay. Yeah. Well, maybe I might. I don't know. I still don't feel comfortable doing it, but if it's more legitimate than the other way,
it came up in another chat at the minute. It's more and more brands are asking for this, which
if it helps the brand relationship to maybe get future work, it might be worth it. But
is it a brand you can see having a long term with?
No. Yes and no. Yes, because they make other products that might be more suitable. The one that I went with, I knew it was going to be a video that was just like, it's like loosely related. There's like some sort of tie-in. You might even be able to guess the video just based off watching my video history. But yeah, I
think it's also less risky if you're getting that from the brand directly. If it's like an agency, then you know that the brand might not even be aware that the agency is doing that.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
the agency is just like, I want to inflate the numbers, right? Gotta be careful.
Something I know I think we've spoken about it before we start recording, but just to get it on the pod, ABC testing, when that finishes, YouTube automatically will leave the one there for history that is being the most successful, right? We don't have to do that. We don't have to manually go in and pick it.
Yeah, they'll pick the one. Yeah.
Right. And also...
And you can stop and set yourself, right? You can say, ignore the test. I'll just set this one or whatever. Yeah.
You're both doing a 3 thumbs, are you, on the whole?
Every video. I've like I said before, I've done 5-6 thumbs anyway for a lot of videos all the time. So I always create 3 by default now. Yeah.
I stopped doing it. I think for me, doing it from the start, it doesn't give me anywhere to go if the video is not doing well. I then have to like try and think of newer thumbnails. For me, I'm like, just for my own brain, it's probably just me and the way I sort of work internally, is that if I pick one thumbnail and then the video is not tanking, I'm like, right, what can I do to fix this? So I'll go and make a new thumbnail to then sort of try and
fix that. Yeah.
And then it's at least in my brain, it's like, okay, I've done all I can now. Yeah. Whereas if I do it from the start and the video tanks, I'm like, shit. I now am stuck in a place where like I can't go anywhere because the title, like you said, Alex, it seems silly that you can't match 3 different titles. Yeah, you can't match 3 different titles to the 3 different thumbs. And I also don't like that it's not CTR based.
No, it's not.
Like
ABD, isn't it?
It's watch time based, yeah. And
I just dumb. And it's not only that, they don't give you the
CTR at all.
No.
Yeah.
So it's like because initially I thought I'd just ignore that, right? Because there will be videos like the one that I mentioned that don't waste your money. I don't care if people watch that for a long time. I care about the views. That's the one video that I don't really care about watch time. I just want the views. So yeah, but I can't. Yeah, so in those I have to play safe with the thumbnail. So even though I think I use like Snooze Fest as one of them, but it's the same image. I just changed the text. So I think sometimes you can make 3 completely different thumbnails just to see what happens. But that doesn't really tell you a lot, I don't think. I think it's better to have variations of the same thumb. That's probably the best way of using it.
The only thing I've made a habit of doing is making sure one of them has my face in, going back to conversations we've had before. So I'm seeing if the face makes any difference at all. That's the biggest variation I make. Always have the face in one of them to see if that's being picked up on.
That's annoying because, I do the same. And annoyingly, the one with the face is the one that gets the most clicks, which is really annoying because I hate using my face.
Now, a question I was asked, I promised I'd mention my name. My studio is, I'm in with another company and a bunch of architects. There's a guy downstairs called Carol, and we were talking in the kitchen a minute ago, and he said, so if I watch your videos on premium with no ads, is that would it be better if I watched your videos on where I'm getting adverts? Do we get anything from premium, or is that just purely Google's money?
No, you get premium still part of it. If you look at the analytics.
It's part of the revenue, yeah.
Right.
If you look at the analytics tab and you go into revenue, it gives you a breakdown of the revenue split of where it's coming from.
Right.
For example, mine is how I made my money last 28 days. Watch page ads were 99.5%.
Right.
And memberships were 0.5. And
memberships being premium.
Yeah, and YouTube Premium, there's an amount in there actually for the last 28 days.
So where do I go into earnings, do I?
You go to analytics in YouTube Studio and then go to the revenue tab right at the far right.
Yeah.
And then at the bottom, how you make your money. And then there'll be watch page ads at the top, and it'll break down watch page ads and YouTube Premium. There's the split.
Okay.
It's not a lot. It's less than 10% in my case.
Yeah.
And Daniel, you made a really good point earlier on about the risks of what we do and falling ill. Obviously, the last podcast you could make it because your voice sounded absolutely.
I was horrid. Yeah.
Yeah. So, it's a good point you made about obviously the weakness we've all got is if we fall poorly. And funny enough, just before the Apple event, I thought I was taking first offense by the bucket load. I was just drinking that stuff. I could not have a cold next week. And you realize the vulnerability of what, and the busier we are, the more tired you become, the more run down you become, the more vulnerable you become to picking things up. Obviously, you've got young kids as well, Daniel. I know you've got your boy as well. Germs can come up. It is a risk of what we do. And
huge.
It's always going to come at the wrong time.
Mine came like August, probably was like a really bad August, sort of start of September, where, as I said, the channel was kind of like just low and I got sick. And when you get sick, you're like, you really want to just do something just to make yourself feel better. But I could not think. I would stand in front of the computer and I'd try and edit. I'm like, I can't do this. I have to lie down. So I kind of, sometimes when you get a feeling you're getting sick, I might like fire up the camera and I just bulk record a couple of videos just to have some A-roll in a row. So then when I'm sick and like I know that time's going to be time pressure, I'll at least have something that I can edit and piece together to upload. But it's not of the highest quality. It's not going to be something that I'm like super proud of. It's just something to get out there. Like, it's my job now. Like, this is my full-time gig. I kind of have no choice. Like, at least if you have a full-time job working for like the man, you can have a sick day. You've got sick entitlements and you get paid for being at home. I don't have that luxury. So I kind of still have to roll on. It's brutal. Like the last 2 weeks, especially like that week before the pod, I was in bed most of the week. And then the week after, I was slowly recovering. And this is the week that I sort of have been
very appropriately timed sneeze.
Thank you. Bless you. I think what it does is it condenses everything together. So when you finally start feeling better, you've got to race through content. You've got to get everything done. Like this week, just to make up for what I've sort of missed, I pushed 3 videos out back to back to back. And that's now it's left me sort of dead and tired again. And but yeah, you just kind of have no choice. I don't know. How do you guys deal with it?
Honestly, I think you did the right thing by not trying to push through. I mean, incidentally, I was talking to 2 other creators last week. I was in Berlin for IFA, which we'll talk about in a minute.
Yeah.
And that conversation came up actually about, because I think it was Patrick Rambles who was saying, he uploaded a video, I think coming back from Vegas last year or something. He was sick and he actually recorded the video whilst being sick. And I get that as well. Sometimes I just push through when I'm not feeling great. And E from This Is E, his name is Iskrim, amazing channel. He said that as a viewer, people turn off, right? We don't want to watch people whilst they're sick.
Purely, no.
Yes, you might feel sorry for them a little bit, and your close viewers will appreciate that you went through that effort. But actually, as a piece of content, it's not. People will be turned off by it. So I think you did the right thing for not pushing through it and actually being aware of it and creating some stuff beforehand. I feel the same. I'd probably do a lot of B-roll. I probably do a lot of writing, but I would avoid recording something if I'm not feeling great. People get sick, right? And maybe post something on community tabs to say, hey, I'm not feeling that great this week. People understand.
Yeah. And actually, I'm using that community tab a lot more now. It's a great way of staying in touch with the guys during that, 3 or 4 days between videos, or if you just posted a video, if you want feedback.
I'm so bad. Yeah. I should use more. I should stream more. I should do a lot more.
Oh, there's always more. There's always more. Let's round out by talking about Berlin.
Yeah.
Which is pretty much over to you because we weren't there.
It was the best trip I've done so far. since I started doing the channel. I've done a couple of visits to other creators of the, obviously collaborating with you for the podcast, but there was nothing like being in a group.
So did you go as press, or how did you actually get in?
Yeah, you can go as press, you can go as content creator, you can just sign up as public. You don't need to be anything. You can just be there.
Be there, right? Yeah.
My approach was, and I tried this last year and it didn't work, because this is not my full-time job, right? If I take time off my normal business, I'm actually losing money. So my task for Shiv, who works here with me, was if you can get enough deals to do while I'm there, that pays for my time out of my other business and pays for the trip, like accommodation, hotels, flights, then I'll go. And yeah, I think I did 3 paid gigs, and there's good and bad about this stuff, right? Because some paid gigs, like the video I uploaded yesterday about, I think it was just my top tech at IFA, was a sponsored video, and it made sense. Is a brand that I like, and it made perfect sense. The next one is a vacuum cleaner, robot vacuum. I know what's going to happen, right? But
we feel you, brother. We feel you.
That video, sadly, is what paid for the trip, and it made sense. So that's the only downside. However, it was well worth it, because what I gained from it was new connections, meeting the brands in an environment that's not really that pressurized, or they're not there. Some of the brands, you go out with dinner sometimes with them, you kind of meet them up in a cafe. It was awesome to get to get FaceTime with people and just get to the human side of it sometimes, understand their challenges. But the best part is being there with other creators, right? They had a creator hub. We sat there, and you see a lot of American creators as well were around. Some big channels were there. I was sharing a hotel with Patrick, as I said, and the other guy was E. And it was great. The first night I got there, he was like just at the bar there. I was like, oh, hello. It's kind of get chatting to them. And it's funny that you especially creators that you look up to hear their challenges and hear their struggles is exactly the same stuff that we go through, right? It's no different. And that was quite comforting in a way. And he was a legend as well. He helped me. I said, I've got a gig tomorrow, so I can't do this or whatever. I said, I'll come over. So he held the camera. So I had like 2 angles, Patrick holding one camera, E holding the other. And it was like literally brought in the heavies right with me. So it was great for that. It was, awesome just to like after the paid gigs, we met up for a couple of drinks and dinner. So I think, and also experiencing Berlin, I've been there many times for work and I never really enjoyed it. It was, because you always like focus on work. They've got these scooters everywhere now. It's like, it was also just get on the scooter and just find somewhere off the beaten track and just experience the city. So I'm definitely doing that next year. I'm going to try to do the same for Las Vegas, which is the big CES
in January.
Yeah. And I encourage, any creators to try. They don't need to be a specific size or whatever. If you can get a financial way of making it work, it's so valuable. Like I said, I'm definitely doing next year. And sometimes it might be even worth not getting paid deals. So that was the one thing that annoyed me a little bit, is having these commitments that the video is going to tank, right? That it's not going to do a lot for the channel. And I want to do less and less of those. I want to make videos that I want to make and make sense for my audience. But there will be times when, especially when it's an expensive trip. All in all, taking time out of my business and the accommodation and travel is about $5-6 grand minimum that you kind of investing. So, but yeah, 1 or 2 paid gigs might cover that.
And you've made contacts, you've made face-to-face, which is priceless, with creators and with brands.
And the connections, right? And the fact that I can WhatsApp the creators that I met there and say, hey, have you come across this issue? I've seen that they've, like, even simple things I asked you is like, the transition that you do in every video. I've tried to figure out how you make it. What is the plugin they use? God, that's just Motion VFX M whatever. It's brilliant. So even for those little things, it's like sometimes you're just like, I wish I could ask this person how he does it.
And even within the 3 of us here, you'll know exactly what I mean. The moment you're spending time with another creator, you come back, even if you're feeling slightly guilty at the back of your mind, thinking, I should have been doing this today. You come back so fresh and so full of ideas and so invigorated.
It's a very lonely job, right? It's great to share stuff with other people. Yeah.
It really is, yeah. I think we're pretty much done on everything, aren't we?
Yeah.
Yeah, I got nothing to add.
Yeah, I'll get this all cut together.
Let's order some shit.
You guys go ahead and do that. I'm good. I'll live vicariously through you guys.
I'm told my shit's already ordered. You know, I've got to wait until after 1 o'clock. Apparently, my email will come through telling me.
Mr. Fancy Pants out there, look at you.
I'm just going to sit back and wait for it to turn up now. That's what I've got to do. No website crashing for me. This is where it's all been a ruse and nothing turns up. Anyway,
I don't think there'll be a lot of people buying it anyway. So
no, I think I'll be okay. Yeah.
No stress. Yeah.
Thank you for the extra subs we've had and everything. And also, don't forget, if you're watching it or listening to it on whichever platform, don't try and rate us as well. And keep on subbing. It makes a world of difference to us. We're back in a couple of weeks' time with, possibly Apple Mark II video. Sorry, Daniel. You only got to run with me for a little while and we'll get off the Apple bandwagon.
It's fine.
We'll be back in a couple of weeks. Thanks, everyone.
See you guys. Bye.